Hi everyone, this is Tammy. On my channel, I will be sharing my simple living experiences with you. Most of my videos will be about plants and many ways that they can be used. Some examples are, of course, as food, but also as medicine. Household cleaning supply products that are made with plants, also crafts made with plants. Please check out my description box for more information on the ways that you can use the wonderful plants that God gave us. In today's video, I'm going to show you some different ways that you can dry whatever plants you've collected, whether it's leaves and you want to dry them for identification purposes or flowers. The first thing that we're going to do is make a flower press. I absolutely love flower presses because I love how the flowers look once they've been pressed. So these boards I got at the Dollar Tree and they were $5 each. They were the perfect size for what I wanted and didn't have to do anything to them except drill the holes. So that's what I got. The top board I've already painted a buttercream color. And so it's got both coats on it. It took 2 coats to do it. And so I won't be doing anything at all to the bottom one. We'll just be doing some things to the top to make it look pretty. I drilled the holes in it. I don't know if you can tell there that the holes have been drilled, but they're already drilled in it and it's ready to go. Okay, actually, as I look at it, I don't think I do have the holes drilled in it yet. But anyway, at some point I did do that, and right now I'm measuring it, and it's 12 by, it's not showing the other side over there, but it was 12 by 16. You can make yours whatever size you want it to be. Whatever works for you will be fine. Okay, I've got the hose drilled, it's showing it there on each corner on the bottom one, and then I'll just go through that to get the top one. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is to put some transfers on them. For those of you who watch my sister's channel, Our Shabby Cottage, I work with her at her shop, and she has some transfers there that she let me use for this. I think they're IOD transfers, but I'm not positive about that. Anyway, there's some transfers of flowers, and I'm going to put them on there. I'm showing you there the color of paint that I used to paint the base coat on there. So these are the flowers I'm going to put on there, and I'm going to put them so that they look like they're hanging. So it'll look like I'm doing them upside down, but that's because I want them to appear to be hanging. So as I go through there and put those on, you just peel the backing off and place it where you want it at. It's really simple to do. I did have a little bit of trouble getting that particular transfer to adhere, but once it got started, it did fine. So I cut out the pieces that I didn't want on there. And I know that if plants are just hanging, you're probably not going to see a butterfly on it, but I like butterflies, so I decided just to leave him on there. There are so many reasons, I guess, for a person needing or wanting a flower press. I guess for me, I need one and I want one. I need it because in the videos that I will be doing in the future, some of the plants are wild plants that I will be discussing, and I will be showing you ways to identify the plant so that you know that what you're looking at is what you think it is. And so if I have the leaves and the flowers of that plant in the flower press, it will be easy for you to see it, and I can explain to you how the leaf looks while you're looking at it, what to look for. And I may not be able to do that if that particular plant is not in season at the time. unless that I have it in the flower press. But I also like doing crafts, and I love using plants in crafts that I do. And so that's another reason why that I would like to have one. So if you have never had one, or if you've had one in the past and used it, or whatever reason you might have for wanting to make one, this makes a really cool one. I also want to tell you, though, that if you have any old telephone books, I know they don't make them anymore, or I don't think they make them anymore, but that's a nice thing to use to press flowers into. It's what I've done in the past many times over, but I decided I wanted an actual flower press to do it. Okay, so there you see me rubbing the transfer on, and like I said, it did have a hard time getting started, and I think that it was because I didn't have a finish over that paint when I first started trying to put the flower on, so it wasn't wanting to stick to the paint. I don't know, or maybe the paint hadn't cured enough. I'm not sure what it was, but it did give me some problems. But like I said, once I got it started, you get that edge started. You see right there, it's still not, but once you get the edge started, then it gets easier to peel the rest of it up. So aside from just flower presses, there are other things, other ways to dry plants, of course. And at the end of this video, or somewhere in this video, I will have pictures of the different places in my house that I hang the plants. And it depends on the plant how long that it actually takes for it to completely dry. But you just need to find a place in your house to hang the plants that the sun isn't shining directly on them, and that they get good airflow. That's really the two main things. There are some plants, though, that you might not want to have hanging in your bedroom just because you don't want to smell that plant all night. So keep that in mind and just find some spots where you would like to hang them. There's also other ways to dry them. I have a dehydrator and I use it. I've got a picture included in this video of my dehydrator with beets and carrots drying in it. Okay, so this is how it looks once I have all of the transfers on there. And I also put the word flower press on there, or words. And I thought I had that recorded, but I guess I didn't. And so I don't have a video for that, but I just used a stencil. And as you can see from what I held up there, in this bowl is tacky glue mixed with water. Maybe a fourth water to three-fourths tacky glue. And you mix it up really good. And then you brush it over the entire top of it. The reason for using this is that I want this to have a crackled finish, because I like for things to look old even when they're not. So this gives the crackle finish in the end. Once you're completed all the steps that you have to do to get it, you'll get a crackled look to it. So here I am just brushing it on, just trying to get a smooth, even finish all the way across it. And of course all the way down. If you don't want a crackle finish on yours, then you can completely skip this step, because that's the only reason that I'm doing this step. Once I'm finished with this, then I will also be brushing clear coat of polyurethane over it. And that's really all you would need to do if a crackle finish is not what you want. So the decision's entirely up to yours. Once it's finished and I've got the crackle finish on there. I'll show you how that looks. And it really, on this one, did not make a whole lot of difference, in my opinion. It didn't give me quite the crackle look that I was hoping that it would. And there's plenty of other ways to do the crackle look also. You wouldn't have to use Mod Podge. Tacky glue. They actually make crackle medium, and I'm sure that you'll have seen it, probably used it. And if you like the finish that you get with that, then just use the crackle medium and do it the way you normally do it. This is just the way my sister and I have been kind of practicing with at the shop, and based on my end results, I probably didn't practice quite enough, because didn't give me exactly what I wanted it to give me. So I didn't mention the other items that you need to do the flower press, and you will of course need some long bolts with the wing hook on the end of them, and you need to get them based on how full you want your flower press to be. So mine holds about 10 layers, I guess, of flowers. Okay, so I'm going to stop for a minute with what I was saying, because I'm showing the polyacrylic there. And so the tacky glue that I did has dried, and it's kind of dry to the touch. You don't have to let it cure. Just if you can touch it and not get it on your fingers, then it's ready. And then you brush over the tacky glue with the polyacrylic. And when you're doing that, just try to do even strokes and try not to repeat your strokes too much. And it's hard to do that on something as big as this is. You can't really get enough on your brush to go all the way across and not have to repeat. So I'm just kind of going part on one side. I get it part of one side and then go back to the other side, because you can't go all the way across with this. If your flower press is smaller than this one, or you're using a bigger brush, then you might be able to get one coat all the way across without having to repeat your strokes. But I wasn't able to on this one, and that may be part of why that I didn't get the look I was hoping for. So back to what you need. Well, it showed me doing that. You need some cardboard, and don't go out and buy some. If you normally order things from Amazon, the Amazon boxes are great. Just use the sides of the box that are the side that you can cut down to the size that you want them to be. And when you're stacking them in there, once this is all done and you've got it put together, you'll need, on the very bottom, of course, will be the back of this flower press, and then a piece of cardboard laying on top of that. And then on top of that, you need the paper, and it needs to be some type of absorbent paper. I used sketching paper, like you would buy a sketchbook if you were going to sketch pictures. I just used paper like that, and I laid a layer of paper down, and then another layer of cardboard, another layer of paper, another layer of cardboard, and I just went like that all the way through. Okay, so this shows the crackle finish, but there was actually another step that didn't get in here, and that step was using Dixie dust. And you just rub the Dixie dust all over the top after your polyacrylic has dried, and then wipe it off with a cloth, and it gives you that tacky glue is still sticky under there, and it will hold the powder when you put it on there, but where it only holds it where the cracks are. And so if you rub over the whole thing with it and then rub off all the excess, the Dixie dust will stay in the cracks and it will not stay on the rest of it. So here I showed you that I was using 220 grit sandpaper, and all I'm doing here is just sanding the edges. The board was already extremely smooth, even on the edges, because it was a cutting board. So that's not the reason that I'm sanding it. I'm just sanding it to clean up the edges where paint might have got, and also just to give it again, a little bit more of a rougher look than it had. And when I'm through with this, I'll show you a video of some of the plants that I have in mind that are already pressed. They're not actually completely dry. It takes a while, several weeks to a month at least, for these to dry once you've got them in there. But I did open mine up so I could get to that page, even though it has not been several weeks to a month. I opened them up to get to that page so you could see kind of what they look like. So I think we're about through this part of the video, and once we get through that and it shows you the finished part, then I'll show you some of the other ways that I do dry the plants. There are many, many, many uses for dry plants. So I use them a lot, like I said, with the wild herbs that I use, but I also use them just to dry vegetables and dry vegetable leaves. Not vegetables themselves, but just the leaves. I hang them and dry them that way, and then powder them and use the powder. So you wouldn't put your vegetables in the flower press unless you're just wanting to press one just for identification. So really this would be more for just flowers. If you have a flower garden and you want to press an example of each of the flowers that you have, you could do it that way. Use it for that purpose, and then even write on there where in the bed maybe that the flower is, because sometimes when it's gone for the season you kind of forget where it's at if you don't have it marked with a plant marker. If you have a lot of plants mixed together, then it's kind of hard to remember where everything is. So just use your imagination, and if you decide you would like to do one, then hopefully you'll try this one. Okay, that's my bedroom. I have them hanging there. That's in the kitchen, and they're hanging there. That's some that are just laying to dry, and those are drying in the bathroom, and that's in the dehydrator. Okay, didn't mean for those to be right there in the middle of that, but they were, so we'll just leave it at that. And this one is the finished flower press, except that I don't have it put together yet because you're not seeing the screws there or anything. So I have been using it for a while. I really, really like it. It's a little aggravating when you have to take it apart to get to it, but once you get your flowers in there, then you need to keep it put together for a while anyway. So I feel like it really is working well, and I'm very glad that I made it. And as you can see there, the word press isn't quite centered with the word flower. So I should have done a better job on that part. It's kind of hard to guess when the word press wasn't all together. Okay, and here's the flowers pressed in there, and here's some that I've dried. And these are different flowers that I pressed in the book. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please excuse any errors that I made. This is the first video I have ever made, and I hope to make many more. Thank you, and God bless you.